program. It seems to have a better starting base than we do here in Canada. Any comments?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, and I can speak just for San Jose because that's obviously where we're at, and um, I think it's you know obviously I have three daughters that play, so I have a vested interest in improving the program. I know from a standpoint of their overall, like the numbers they have 300 mites per year that come into their program, and that's every year. That being said, at the 15s this year, they were barely able to fill a team on AAA on the boys side. So it's not for the lack of uh, funds or numbers. It seems, on the boys' side, anyways, once they get to a certain level, they all think that they should be going someplace else. They're it's not good enough, and they got to go to Shaddix. They got to pay $60,000 to go to Shaddix, and this and that, and everything else. And on the girls' side, it's relatively the same, and hopefully trying to change that. So just to give you perspective, so my daughter's a 2006, and there are three girls that are leaving from 2006. Two are going to Shattuck St. Mary's. And one of them, or actually all three are going to Shattuck St. Mary's, paying $60,000 to go to per year to go to high school. Uh, and the '05 group, the one ahead of that one, I think there was seven girls that left that were going to Exeter, Chicago Young Americans, Mission, um, but if you go back to the 2008, 2007 group, when my middle daughter is in, we had 40 girls try out over the weekend for that group. And so in previous years, because so for U14, they'd have two birth years, and they would pick a first team, and they would have 15 players, and then the other 15, they wouldn't even have a coach. Um, and they are not a goalie, and there was no consideration, so they would end up going to play with boys, or trying to manage where they would play. And that's so for 2 years. This is our third year being a part of the program. So the two previous years there was this mass exodus, and so I basically had said, hey, listen, let's instead of developing a group of 15 or 16, let's develop a group of 32. So basically, we had about 40 girls, and it just basically said, hey, we're going to pick the 32. Yes, there's going to be a AAA with the top 16, 17, and then we're going to have the other 16, 17, and like we'll practice together. They only get three ice times a week. They get one on Wednesday, and then they get Saturday, Sunday. And so I said, okay, well, let's try it. I'll coach. We can run. There's Mark Smith, former NHL player, who has a daughter who's going to help out, and then I have a former collegiate player from Aurora, who is moved to the area, Canadian girl that married, or her fiance is in law enforcement in San Jose. She's helping out, and I said, here's our crew, and let's try this. And so we only lost one player. So we had 31 players that basically committed and said, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We had the benefit of having the last month prior, having ice times, and being able to just basically, have an emphasis on the girls, because I think what happens is on the boys side, like at least here in California, they have the numbers, but they don't have anybody that pays any attention to. I'll just be honest, they don't pay attention on the girls side anyways. When they're younger, they're like, oh yeah, we've got a dad that's going to look after it. Oh yeah, the girls team, yeah, you're fine. And so the better girls feel like, I need to play with boys to be able to be able to. Oh, it's so much better. These girls can't even make a pass, and I'm just better served to be playing with boys, because the team is better. And so what happens is that these girls that play with boys all the way growing up, and then they end up coming with the girls, they are a lot of them are they play defense. None of them play forward because they always put the girls on defense because they can skate and they can angle and they can dump it out of the zone and they can stand it up at the blue line. And so either they play defense or they're so timid that they have no confidence to hang on to the puck. So I've seen, and I have this from the last year that we had. It was 06, 07 birth years. The step that the girls have taken just by just empowering them to be able to I use Wally's line all the time. Treat it like your cell phone, girls. Like you would never throw it away. And I get like these looks on their faces, like, "Oh my God, what do you say about my cell phone?" But the and I think like the growth curve on girls is so incrementally steeper than it is of boys because they pay attention, and when they're dialed in, they like as I say, and I say it all the time with boys, you got to hit them over the head with a tack hammer to get them to lit like 10 times to get them to do the one thing maybe some of the time. And with girls, you've got to be careful as to not give them too much information because a lot of times they'll take that too literally, and that's so. I mean, I would say in summary, Wally, yes, there are the numbers here. I think that at least in San Jose, there needs to be. And again, I'm here and because of my girls and my youngest one is a 2010, so I'll be a part of the program here for a while. But they just need to have the same consideration that they do for the boys, and they don't. And I guess that's probably across the board. But there is quite a bit of talent coming out of this area, and I say there are the numbers. It's just that at those crucial ages, I would say between like 12U to 14U, there just has to be a more concerted effort to be able to have people that either have girls and understand that they don't want just to be like, you have to treat them like athletes. Just don't treat them like you think, oh yeah, no, like that's too rough for them or whatever else. Because that's the part of it too. Like I've had great guys I get along with well, and they played on teams with the boys, and they treat them differently. And like my daughter has been like, well, like why? Like just treat me like a player. Don't treat me like anything different. So you need to have parents that have had girls involved and then understand that how because then you'll understand that you can't be so literal and it has to be conceptual. So